All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at example 2 here, guys. Example 2, this is actually what your Khan Academy is going to be about. Goal in this case for this lesson, guys, is once again for us to identify whether they're asking us to find the y-intercept, the vertex, or the x-intercept. Now, in the vertex, guys, we do have 2 points. We have the y-coordinate of the vertex and also the x-coordinate. So that's what we want to go ahead and see here. So, first thing I want to go ahead and do here, guys, each time you have a word problem, you do want to go ahead and label your variables. Label variables. And in this case, guys, variables we want to go ahead and label are x and y. Those are the ones we want to go ahead and identify. So in this case, guys, it says Adam flew his remote control drone off a platform. The function f models the height of the drone above the ground in meters as a function of time in seconds after takeoff. Now, each time we're working with word problems that we have word problems that have quadratic problems in them or quadratic functions, they are going to be giving you guys 2 units of measure. In this case, once again, if we go back, it says they're giving us a height in meters. That's one of the units of measure. The other one they're giving us here is time in seconds. All right. Now, when it comes to identifying which one's x, which one's y, the easiest one for me to identify is y, because in this case, y is always the highest unit, the biggest unit. So, for example, it's a unit that's given to you in bigger measures. And most of the time, whenever they're talking about height, they're actually talking about y. So y in this case is representing our height in meters. Height in meters. All right. That leaves x in this case representing the time in seconds. All right. So once again, guys, you're going to have other units of measure where they're probably going to give you dollars and then millions of dollars. So you could probably compare there how millions of dollars is a bigger unit of measure. So that one would be representing y. Dollars would be representing x. So that's just a different scenario here. Another way you guys could also identify it is if they use the phrase as a function of. So as a function of, in this case, guys, any unit of measure that comes before this phrase that I had just highlighted in yellow actually represents y. Anything that comes after it represents x. Okay. Now, this is important to identify which one's x, which one's y, because when we work with word problems later on in the chapter, we could identify whether we're looking for an x or a y, and then we could just break it down into 2 other possibilities instead of it being 4. So, once again, height is y, time is x. So, starting off with the first one, guys, we do have our graph here. This graph was given to us, and it actually already gives us a unit of measure. So, seconds in this case, once again, is x. It's x. And height is y. So, it's already given to us, you know. This is horizontally, which is x. Vertically is y. So in this case, it says, what is the height of the platform? So height of the platform, guys, actually talks about our starting point. Our starting point here. Let's see. Now, question for you guys is, what represents our starting point here? Our y-intercept, our vertex, or our x-intercept? And in this case, guys, our starting point is actually here, which would be our y-intercept. Y-intercept. So our answer for here, if I want to know the exact height of my platform, it would be found at the point 0, 60, or I could simply just say 60 meters. The height of the platform is 60 meters. Let me just move this down so it's not all jammed. So I could say it's 60 meters. All right. So once again, that is the height of the platform. Once again, represents our starting point. It represents the y-intercept, so that's 60. Now, next one, it says, what is the drone's maximum height? All right, a few things I want to identify here, guys. Whenever they talk about the maximum, or minimum, it's always talking about the vertex. So that's vertex. All right. Now, in this case, guys, they mention a unit of measure here, which is height. Now, going back to the beginning, what does height represent, x or y? And in this case, the height represents y. So, because we're looking for y here, we're actually looking for the value of the y-coordinate of the vertex. Y-coordinate of vertex. So let's go to the graph and let's go to the vertex. So in this case, guys, the vertex is actually the highest point in our graph here, which would be found up here. Now, we're not looking for the entire point, we're just looking for y. So in this case, if I go down, x is 10 and y is 80. So the maximum height here would be 80 meters. But all you have to do in Khan, guys, is just plot the point. Just plot the point. All right. And last one, guys, it says the time when the drone landed on the ground. So from its start point, you know, it went up and it reached its highest points and it started to come down. So they want to know the time it reached the ground. And in this case, guys, this point here, down here, represents our x-intercept. Our x-intercept. And another clue for us, guys, is they told us that we're looking for time. Time is x, so x-intercept. And in this case, our answer for that would be 30 seconds. All right. So when you do your Khan assignment, guys, they're not going to be asking you to do all of this. All they're asking you is to plot the point. So this green point, you just have to drag it to wherever they're asking you. So make sure you first identify your variables, your x and y, and then see whether they're asking you for x or for y, and you can go on from there. All right. Anything they mention with maximum or minimum or highest or lowest always talks about the vertex. Anything talking about ground level, reaching the bottom, that's x-intercepts. And anything that talks about the starting point, the beginning,